You're very open.
Yeah.
Right. You know, in public, and I know this is your second marriage.
Yeah.
What is different in this marriage versus, say, your first one at this point?
There's a checklist there. Yeah. The first marriage, there was no checklist, meaning there was no credit report. You couldn't pull my credit in the first marriage to say how well I did in my previous marriage, because there had not been a previous marriage. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So coming into this second marriage, there is a credit report. There are questions when we were vetting each other, and there was a lot of questions pertaining to my marriage. What happened? How did y'all fall out of love? Why did y'all go y'all separate ways? Because here's a very interesting thing. My ex-wife and I could probably tell you how many times we argued in our marriage. And sometimes when I think about that, my level of maturity makes me sit back and recollect. And I start asking myself, was it that bad? Because it really wasn't. We didn't have a lot of conflict. I just think over time we grew apart. Just like, all right,
It happened.
I want something else. You might want something else. That's what happened. So the difference now is I know what it feels like to be divorced, to go through that process. I know what it feels like to sit up late nights not being able to sleep because you're thinking your whole family is about to be just the unit itself about to be destroyed, you know. So also I know hella do's and don'ts from my first marriage that I know is certain things that, you know, it's like right now, my wife get pissed off. She got mad at me the other day. We spun it. It was a true story. And I'm dealing with something, okay? One of my childhood friends, right? Just something happens. He's in the hospital. They saying seizure. Sound like overdose to me. I'm not putting it out there that that's what it was. I'm just saying what it sounded like. So that gave me like a sense of, damn, that he woke up out of a coma in 3 days. Told me I'm late for work. The doctor's like, yo, we never seen anybody wake up out of a coma like this. This is crazy. It's a phenomenon, right? Then at the same time, the day he wake up out of the coma, another friend of mine or an associate who was hanging with a friend of mine would die that night. My childhood best friend came out of his coma. And he was just with me for my birthday. He escorted me in. They had all these slingshots that escorted me to the city hall for my birthday. He died on a slingshot. So that was a lot to deal with, right? I walk into the restaurant. I see an old friend. My wife is kind of like, we done had a long day. It's raining outside. I'm like, baby, you want to eat? We was doing extra stuff. So she been working since this morning. I've been working since this morning. It's 9 o'clock at night now. She tired, I'm tired, but we hungry. So I see an old friend. So she's like, where we going? The old friend said, hey, y'all. I'm like, what's up? So she like,
The old friend is a
female.
Oh.
She's a female, a woman.
Okay.
She's a woman. Mm-hmm. And she said, so y'all just gonna act like y'all don't know each other? And okay. So I was like, I spoke. You don't want to speak. She was like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's fine. So I'm like, so I'm feeling some kind of way. So the lady walks up, she said, you know what? I'm gonna push y'all over here in the private area. I said, cool. I walk in, this young lady said, Jock. I'm like, oh, who is this? She said, you don't remember me? I'm like, She said, you sure you don't remember me? My wife head looking around like, who? I'm like, who are you? She said, Larry, Mary, Chris, Kim. So she said that. I'm like, oh, you talking my childhood best friend, Larry, Steve, but I don't know who you are. She said, oh, I'm his brother, Chris's wife. I said, oh, okay. Hey, man, how's everybody doing? She goes, yeah, you know, Chris is in law enforcement now. And by the way, they found the killer to Steve after 20 years. So I'm hearing some crazy, so everything that's happening at one time. So she telling me, I'm like, well, how? So I sit down at the table and I'm frustrated. I'm going through something. So to bring it back in, she's sitting there, it turns into a situation, we get into it. I don't even know how we got into it. I say, you know what? I'll be back. ordered the food. I walked out, went to the store. Ask me what I got from the store.
What?
Nothing. I just needed
to walk.
I needed a walk, but I drove. Yeah. I pulled back up. I pulled in the front, in the other parking lot, and I sat down. She said, well, you could leave our Uber. I said, no way I would leave you. I said, I'll leave you the car, not Uber. I said, but then there's no way I'm supposed to leave my wife because we have a misunderstanding out here outside. Even though we both may come off safe, but if anything happened, I never get over this. So that in itself brought me back. It zeroed back out. I had to ask what I'm going through and how am I going to deal with this in the most effective manner I can without it causing more conflict. We got in the car. We didn't say anything all the way to the house. We got to the house. We hopped in the shower. That water broke the silence. That intimate moment broke the silence. And from that moment on, you couldn't tell we had any issues this whole night. Because it got bad. Like, it was like about to be a real argument. And we don't do that. So I just think sometimes, man, when you find yourself in these spaces with your person that you love, you say you love, you got to really go back and channel that moment to ask yourself, how did you even end up here? Why were you willing to commit? Why are you committed? Why is she committed? What was the great part of this bond, this divine union? Why are we here? And you got to figure that shit out and get back to that space. So that moment, you don't have to question anything else that you're feeling. You got to zone back out. You know, it's just like if you was in the military and you out here and you scared, you hear bullets going over your head and you like, why am I here? To protect my country. I'm fighting for freedom. I'm a patriot. And when you go back to that, you say, I don't know how this gonna end, but I got a mission. And you gotta fulfill that mission. So that's how that's how I be thinking.
You got through it.
Got through it.
Let me ask you this real quick, because obviously...
Sorry for being long-winded, man, but when I be getting into the moments, I be getting that point out.
It's understandable.
It take a little longer sometimes than others. You feel me?
Sometimes, I mean, in addressing maybe even the insecurities that come with being with somebody like yourself, with a lot of profile, what is it like? You know, I've seen y'all talk about infidelity and cheating. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? What's that like for you as a man? Of course, men oftentimes are accused of it, but I know that you may have dealt with it with your wife and, you know, you got through it. You know what I'm saying? What's that like? Because most brothers don't really talk about that.
Well, because it's already so heavily, it's like we're blanketed with this whole concept, you're a dog. And I'm going to be honest with you, man, being a celebrity, especially if you're a likable celebrity, as a man, it's the same, it's equivalent to being a beautiful woman. Because every time she steps out the house, somebody's saying, hey, can I do something for you? Can I take you out? Can I get with you? Can I give you the best love you ever had? Can I take you around the world? Can I change your life, your mama them life? They go through that. So as a celebrity, as a male celebrity, when you step out and people see like you having, you look like you successful, people might not even really want you. They just may be in the mood to flirt with the idea of experiencing your lifestyle.